on shotguns. Again. When you die in one hit from other sources, you get to look at your death screen, consider what you did wrong, and you can resolve to play smarter next time. Your death here leads to you becoming a better player. Against shotguns, though, there are a lot of times where you did nothing wrong at all. You simply died because your opponent finds the game too difficult to play, or he finds that easy kills are too tempting to pass up. Your death here oftentimes does not lead to you becoming a better player. You have nothing to learn by dying to a shotgun. In Counter-Strike, shotguns potentially kill 0% faster than regular guns. In Call of Duty Hardcore, shotguns kill roughly 60% faster than regular guns. In Call of Duty Normal, shotguns kill roughly 76% faster than regular guns. In Battlefield 3 Hardcore, shotguns kill 83% faster than regular guns. In Battlefield 3 Normal, shotguns kill roughly 142% faster than regular guns. In Bad Company 2, shotguns kill 230% faster than regular guns. In PlanetSide 2, shotguns kill roughly 450% faster than regular guns. I'm not 100% on all the math in the previous quote, but this is probably one of the best quotes I've seen in discussion when talking about just exactly why the shotgun in PlanetSide 2 is, well, stupid. I'm going to be using that word quite a bit probably, so if you're the dedicated 1 or 2 KD shotgun user, you should probably go watch something else, because this video is going to be about how stupid your playstyle is and ultimately why you're actually stupid for using it. If we're going to have the conversation about shotguns, I think the best way to do it is probably to go back and mine some common quotes I see thrown around as gospel when it comes to their use. One of my favorite idiot bad players when it comes to this topic is Hedge. In 2015, he made a video, which I'll link in the description, that is full of dumb assumptions and completely centers around mindsets and, well, little else. Now, a little primer on Hedge. He's one of those guys that plays this game with relatively higher sensitivity, has middling accuracy, and basically never aims for the head. If you know anything about this game, you already know that the combination of this game's weapons having so little spread accumulation, thus allowing you to hit 5 consecutive shots on the head with a fully automatic weapon, and the headshot hitbox being either A, too large, or B, too forgiving, or a combination of both in there. There's a very obvious route to becoming a better, more efficient killer in infantry combat. A well-practiced aimer can practically gib you with a fully automatic weapon from point blank to about 15 to 20 meters reliably. Now, here's where our friend Hedge comes in. Headshots for him seem to be little more than a random occurrence, as in looking over frag montages and other videos, I really only see mag dumps into the body and very little else. If you also listen to the way he speaks about automatic weapons like LMGs or ARs, he has arbitrarily categorized weapons like the Orion as a medium-range weapon. In his mind, the minor skill gate of having to be able to track a target under 10 meters with an automatic weapon becomes too much to overcome and is too hard. So like so many other players in this game that don't take advantage of an area of the body that deals 2 times damage and automatic weapons with play school levels of spread increase, Hedge opts for the easy button and is stuck jumping through mental hoops trying to defend his position.
Basically, it's like this. So, the people, they go out of their way, they figure out how to use these medium-range weapons like Orion.
Now, I'm not sure how many people I know would actually categorize a weapon like the Orion as a medium-range weapon. I'm not even sure what Hedge actually considers medium-range, but if the way he talks is any indication, he must think medium-range is from about 3 or 4 meters and out. As for the going out of their way to figure out how to use these guns part, yes, I went out of my way to figure out how to control my cone of fire and control recoil and position my crosshair properly and position my character. Yeah, in my case, I did something more than pressing Shift and W, looking at the ground half my playtime and mashing my mouse 1 button and still missing half my shots.
And then they get into a close quarter combat with a medium range weapon, and like everything they just learned just gets thrown out of the window.
I feel like we're actually listening to his personal story and ultimately a thinly veiled attempt to justify using an obviously stupid weapon type to overcome his inability to play well. And yes, everything about the game's TTK gets thrown out the window within 10 meters against a shotgun user. 3 to 5 headshots or 7 plus body shots against 1 body shot or 2 body shots? Here's where a lot of shotgun defenders swoop in to always remind you that this is the only range they're good at. So, my question to them is, does having to get within 10 meters justify basically one-shotting or two-shotting everyone you run into? Did you really outplay the player you one-shotted, or did the weapon do all the work for you? I don't think many shotgun users ask themselves this question or even consider it because, well, I think you and I already know the answer.
And rather than adapting, rather than becoming better equipping a shotgun or a SMG or something that works better in close quarter combat, they
If my only way of adapting to your inability to play well, Crutch, is to use the same weapon, I think we're objectively looking at a balance problem. And it's rather laughable that he mentions pulling an SMG against a shotgun. SMGs generally have even worse damage models and take more hits to kill someone than something like an Orion. You'll notice also that accuracy or headshotting someone to kill them faster in CQC is never something that even enters his train of thought.
in close quarter combat, they want to keep using the same thing.
Right, I don't want to play like an idiot and restrict myself to only being able to fight people sub 10 meters. I like using a weapon that rewards efficacy and skill, allowing me to fight people from close quarters out to 30, 40, 50 meters. Using a weapon that is complete cancer within 10 meters and leaves you essentially dickless at every other range after is just retarded in a game like this. You can still kill people very, very quickly with automatic weapons in close quarters and still be completely viable out to a myriad of other ranges. I guess, though, to people that can't hit anyone outside of 10 meters very well, the choice to upgrade to a 1 or 2 shot body shot kill reward is an obvious one.
And when it doesn't work out, they don't want to blame themselves for the loss. They don't want to blame themselves for the mistake.
I go to a small fight and notice that 3 of the points are taken by the enemy. I go to the first point, nobody's there, so I casually flip it and make my way to the second one. I get there and encounter a guy, he hits me a few times, but I aim better and headshot give him or something close to it. A clean kill. I cap the point, and upon making my way towards the third objective, the same guy I killed recently is back and the result is the same. I'm simply beating him with my ability to headshot. I run into the third objective point building. I can hear someone downstairs running around, so I assume their spawn is somewhere near this objective and not towards any of the others. The same guy appears, our engagement is roughly the same, except this time he kills me in 2 mouse clicks, and I'm dead before the 4th bullet comes out of my gun. Did this player become more accurate in the time that he respawned at the Sunder ran back? Did his positioning improve? Is he a better player now compared to 2 deaths ago? No. He just switched to a weapon that completely makes up for how terrible he is with how obnoxious it is in its intended range, which just so happens to be roughly the range of every capture point room in the game. So, what's my mistake here? Playing inside a building with a capture point opposite of someone who decided using a carbine, assault rifle, or a light machine gun was too hard for him? I lost because I don't have an aimbot and toggled to his head and insta-killed him when he appeared? I failed to see this as a loss, ultimately, because you can learn something from a loss. Dying to a shotgun in this situation didn't teach me anything other than feeling bad for the other guy and making me resent the developer for putting the weapon in the game in the first place. It also makes me resent the shotgun guy because an easy-to-learn, hard-to-master gunplay of the game was just too hard for him and he gave up.
They want to kind of put it under the rug. They want to dismiss it.
Did you ever notice that Hedge never actually talks about how good a shotgun is within its effective range? You see, it's not a matter of forgetting or dismissing the experience, like he says, when there's really nothing to learn or remember about the engagement. If I apply the knowledge and experience of fighting players who decided they needed the ability to one-hit KO or two-hit KO to make up for their inability to play the game well, the game plays out exactly the same for me. You see, most players that resort to using a shotgun aren't generally very good in the first place, and even with the ridiculous power for minimal effort that a shotgun can give you, they don't actually end up performing that much better in the long run. At Quadi Mountain Complex the other night, I encountered a player that specifically and exclusively only used ambusher jump jets and a shotgun. I killed this person 19 times in this one fight, Almost all of the 19 kills on him was inside the building and either in the hallway next to the objective point, the grav lift room nearby, or the room adjacent to the objective. The fact is, you're simply going to outplay a lot of shotgun players because they're bad in general. This is where the term shotgun shitter comes from.
That to pretend it never happened, to blame the victor for the victory.
Let's talk about your victory. Shotgun players and defenders like Hedge use false equivalency to try and justify their position. A, quote, victory with an automatic weapon doesn't look anything like a victory with a shotgun. Don't let them try fooling you into thinking the two are even remotely similar.
My reason was not because it's better.
Excellent. 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 Excellent.
You drag me in more effective than Bravo or something.
Yeah, don't. Yeah.
Excellent. 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 Excellent.
Alert.
Killing anything?
Excellent.
Sort of, but not really.
Excellent.
Although I shall join you.
Excellent.
One requires ability. The other? You be the judge.
You know, but why are they playing Planetside? Why are they playing this game with all these weapons if they just want to play the way that they make?
Using a weapon that requires essentially half the effort or ability of literally every other weapon in the game to achieve the same end, albeit faster, is, by definition, cheap. The gun is in the game as a skill gap equalizer so bad players like this guy can get some kills on players that are probably far better than he is. Saying, it isn't cheap, it's in the game, doesn't really do anything to address the problems with the weapon. Quite simply, in its effective range, a shotgun is overpowered in PlanetSide 2 given the game's longer than average TTK. Now, shitters will go Neanderthal and shriek, "It good close, bad range." And in that totally unnuanced sense of the word, sure, it's balanced. The problem with this rather simplistic view of the weapon is that it completely ignores how much faster it potentially kills in its effective range and how far and away faster it kills than a regular weapon. It's literally a weapon that takes a painfully mediocre infantry player and makes him 150% more effective for half the effort. You didn't do anything to earn that type of power. You didn't outplay your opponent for that kill. You got a skill supplement out of the nearest terminal to make up for your inability to use the rest of the weapons in this game that already have laughably low skill floor. If you're the type of shotgun guy that wants to interject here and talk about how when you pull a shotgun, the terrain and base around you become a math equation like in A Beautiful Mind, and talk about how tactically you move and so on and so forth, fine. There are those of you out there that play like this. However, the majority of you don't. The majority of shotgun people press Shift and W until they get within 10 meters and then just mindlessly mash the mouse 1 button. There's no thinking here, and even if, like in the tactical guide's case, there was a lot of thinking, it still doesn't excuse or make appropriate the obnoxious kill power of the weapon. Now, I guess I should get to the crux of why this guy probably even made this video.
And they've made leagues for this. I'm actually banned from the Farmers League. You know, there was like a sign up and it said, you know, what would cause you not to play? And I said, well, if you start banning weapons, you know, arbitrarily based, you know, on your own rule set, I wouldn't play. And the guy got hella mad at me. He was like, oh, you're fucking blacklisted from my thing. It's like, dude, you're gonna blacklist me for telling you I don't want to play? Like, what's the point?
Yep, that's me, blacklisting him from participating in the Farmers League. So, to get down to it, around this time and before it a bit, Hedge had devoted his whole existence in the game to white knighting for shotguns on Reddit, among fellow AC members' YouTube channels, etc. So, naturally, I found it interesting to see his name show up on the application interest survey for Farmers League. In the original post, the entire Google document containing a detailed rules section, banned weapons, etc. was posted, and of course Hedge wanted to cry about anything that was naturally a low skill ceiling weapon being affected. As it turns out, none of the things he bitched about were actually banned from play, and I can't tell you how many posts by ignorant people that either didn't watch a single match or have no idea what the fuck they're even talking about say that shotguns were banned, maxes were banned, motion spotters were banned, so on and so forth. None of these things were actually banned, and all of them saw use. Essentially, Hedge decided to ignore, or I guess not even read anything in the thread, and started whining and moaning immediately. I assumed that a normal person would actually read what the league rules were in the document provided, and didn't think I'd still have to deal with this moron still crying about banned weapons since there weren't any. Hence why I responded the way I did, calling him a retard and blacklisting him. Why sign up for the format just to use the survey and comments section to continue to white knight and grandstand for low skill ceiling gameplay elements that are allowed? To be fair, I already disliked Hedge personally for his dishonest arguments and misrepresentation of what we're ultimately talking about, so it was an easy decision to make. I don't think anyone, except Hedge, lost sleep over it. One of the comments on his shotgun video is a guy clearly pointing out that shotguns are frustrating because they simply lower the skill ceiling of a given engagement because of its ease of use and power in this game specifically, as compared to other games, CSGO in this case. Of course, Hedge doesn't understand this concept at all and just complains that people refuse to counter a shotgun and adapt. I find that one of the core problems of PlanetSide 2 and why we can't get any sensible balance changes or anything in the way of actually addressing the gameplay is that you have a whole community of people that quite simply never want to get better at the game. Because frankly, there are so many low skill ceiling playstyles, weapons, equipment that allow the average bad player to be successful. Why learn positioning and how to use audio cues when you can just use a motion spotter that shows exactly where everyone is and where they're going? Why get killed over and over again by a guy who's better than you at a 1-12 fight when you could just chain pull a max suit and win? Why delve into high skill ceiling weapons when you can limit yourself to room size engagement areas, put a big circle around someone's body and get a free kill because you chose to be irrelevant at every other range? When I equip a shotgun, I feel objectively worse. Not because of the shotgun shitter connotation that comes with equipping it, but because it's an objectively stupid decision to make, since I already can aim and use automatic weapons. There's never a situation where I think to myself, yeah, a shotgun would definitely be better here. It never enters my mind to trade being viable at all ranges to getting a few cheap kills up close and having to run away and hide from every other fight that I could just straight up take and kill the other guy if I had anything other than a shotgun. Not to mention, after using a shotgun and only having to put a giant circle in the body, my aim with other weapons becomes somewhat atrophied because of the low skill shotguns required to be successful with. Hedge likes to talk about countering things and adapting to shotgun users, but these players are the same players that instead of countering someone they can't beat by just, learning to aim or improving at any other of the various FPS skills that you can apply to a given situation, they have a low skill, high reward alternative given to them by idiot developers. Now, I feel like my video has gone on long enough, and I've gotten most of my key points that I wanted to talk about out there. And just as an aside, I'm pretty sure Hedge, this video was made over 3 years ago, or about 3 years ago. But I thought it was important to do something on this because a lot of these mindset type things that Hedge talks about in his video, you still see the exact same thing today. So the arguments have not changed very much, or at all. So I guess in one sense you can see that Hedge, he no longer plays the game. He's quit the game, and I'm still playing, and I know a lot of people that play like me, and most of the veterans that can aim well, they're still playing too. So it's kind of funny to me that someone that specifically plays in a low skill ceiling play style is already, they gave up on the game a long time ago because it's just not quite as rewarding. And to be honest, learning how to do something rather well and applying it and improving over time is something that we all can strive for and work for and get better at, something we spend, which I know a lot of you guys spend a lot of hours doing. So I guess this part of the video obviously is not scripted or anything, so I guess I'll just end it with if you're an outfit leader, you know, get out there and get your guys to improve at the game, right? Lower your mouse sensitivities, get some more frames, which I know is a big ask in such a poorly shit optimized game. But stop filling your guys' heads with this shit that you know, you need, just pull a shotgun. You need a shotgun. Because if anything, a shotgun is holding you back. The shotgun is basically training wheels for someone who hasn't learned how to play the game yet. Because once you learn how to aim and use automatic weapons effectively in this game, you'll never want to use a shotgun again, and it'll just be a less viable weapon for you to pick. So with that, I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll see you around.